Okay, off we go then. This is, Football Channel number one. I can't even
Episode
remember.
one.
Episode one. This we're calling this the Chairboys chat. That's mainly because we're both Wycombe fans. Kieran there is a Liverpool fan.
As well.
But hey, and we had our perfect weekend. It's been a while
It is.
where Liverpool won, Wycombe won, and
Man United lost.
Man United lost. Yeah, I'm afraid, Kieran, I brought him up with my own dislikes. I have to say, let's start with the Wycombe win. Got to start with the Wycombe win.
Yeah.
What do you reckon then?
Well, of course, me being a university student, I didn't get to watch all of it, but I've obviously had a look at all of the feedback and all the comments on Twitter and everything like that. And it looked as if that we played extraordinarily well, like creating chances that from when I've watched in the past we haven't been able to do.
Well, Paul said, I noticed on the comments below on the Where I Stand video, Paul said, back to our old selves. I think this is how we play. And it is, isn't it? Where the losing team walk away from the Wycombe match thinking, well, we were the better team. How did we lose? Isn't that how Wycombe win?
This is how we win, isn't it? I did see some statistics about our passing accuracy on Twitter. Apparently only 2 out of our 11 players had more successful passes than they did unsuccessful, which just shows you like what our style of play is. And
our style of play, I think Allsop passed it to our centre forward more often than any of the other players on the pitch.
More than likely.
Goalkeeper belting it up the middle.
I imagine Akinfenwa gets all his passes from Jacobson and Allsop. That is literally about it. But
corners, free kicks, and goal kicks are where we get the chances.
I've also got to say hats off to Kashket so far, because if there was a player that I thought wouldn't be able to cut in the Championship in terms of going from League 2 to League 1 to Championship, it would have been him. And so far, he seems to be our standout player. Along with maybe Aden
we never saw him last year, did we?
No. Or the season before that. He had that one period in which he's kind of lived off for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And he seems to be kind of back now again. He
does.
Making his way back.
Yeah, yeah. So, Sheffield Wednesday then, not a good game for them. I mean, they are, 8 points away now from Wycombe.
Yeah.
They've lost the last 3 or 4 games. They need an awful lot of points to pull themselves out of that, and they're not getting them. Now, the first thing everybody says is sack the manager.
I'd say he's proven to be a decent manager, because where was it he was successful? I think it was Swansea that Monk was successful at. I could be wrong, but he has been successful in the past, and so it's just finding that balance in between manager and club that just works. And it's evident that some clubs that it just does. For example, Ainsworth, Wycombe. And so saying you just need to sack him straight away is probably nonsense. But if it gets to halfway through the season, they're still in the same position as they are, then maybe it could be time for a change. But not yet.
They've got a lot to do to get out of that hole.
They do have a lot to do.
On the bonus side, they'll be taking one of Wycombe's places. So we're only fighting for 2 places to keep out of.
It's depending where Sheffield Wednesday were originally going to, kind of be placed. Because if they were a bottom 12 sort of side, then they would be in that sort of scenario anyway because of their minus 12 at the beginning.
I see Rhodes came on and hardly touched the ball, thank goodness. He's only scored. Do you know how many he's scored in the last 2 games against Wycombe? 8.
Is it really?
I think so. So when I saw him come on, my breath stopped. I thought, uh-oh, here we go again. He's going to get a hat-trick in the last 5 minutes. I've always thought if only Wycombe could have signed him. I've always thought that. He's a good player.
When that famous time when we were on Sky and we lost 6-1, I think. This is quite a while ago. And someone scored 5 against us. Was it Rhodes?
I believe so.
It was, yeah.
So.
I thought it
think
was.
So. I think
this
so.
was like 10 years ago now, but I do always remember that. It's like, oh, we're on Sky. And we lost 6-1.
The excitement.
It was amazing.
Excitement. So that's Sheffield Wednesday and Wickham. Well, how about Liverpool then? I mean, does Jota replace Firmino? There's your question.
You know how much of a fan I am of Firmino, don't you? I mean, at the moment, of course he does. He has to play in front of him because, you know, one person scored 4 goals has made a massive difference in the last few games. One of them really hasn't. Firmino is just in that vein of form. I say vein of form. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. Yes, I've said for a very long time he needs replacing. If you could get a number 9 that scored a goal, it would make a big difference.
Yeah, well, it is. It's since last season, we've always kind of needed a refresh in terms of our personnel in probably every position. Not every position, but like each stage of like our team. In midfield, we got Thiago, which is a massive boost, although he hasn't really been in there yet because of injuries. Which is why midfield's look a little bit flat at times, and also Fabinho, everyone's going to centre back and this sort of thing. But the front three, as much as, you know, they're incredible, sometimes you just do need a bit of a refresh, and I think Jota would probably provide that. Yeah. As well as Shaqiri.
Excellent.
Shaqiri's been fantastic. The problem with Shaqiri is that I think he's better as a cam. And that kind of means you have to sacrifice one of the midfielders so you can provide Shaqiri with that sort of space. Because out on the wing, he is not the same. Like, he just isn't.
No. I was worried for Liverpool playing West Ham because although looking at where West Ham are in the table, I think they've been playing great football.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they got the draw against Man City, didn't they?
They did. But it's not just that. We saw them all at the sort of the end of last season started picking up the points, and the guy that got up front, although he wasn't playing,
he was injured, wasn't he? Yeah. I think that made a big difference because I think they had Haller up there, did absolutely nothing.
No,
and they could have got at Liverpool considering we had Gomez and Phillips, I think it was, who did have a good game. I think he was a little bit overhyped how good a game he had, because he's just like, he's a new guy who's Premier League debut and he kept them quiet. But he didn't have much to defend against, quite honestly.
And what about the Salah dive then?
Wasn't a dive. Of course, he does get a touch on his ankle. He does kick him in the ankle.
Yeah. He felt that, didn't he?
Look, I'm biased. I'm going to say it was a penalty. I'd probably say if it was someone else, it would be a penalty, unless it was against me. Obviously, I'd be a bit miffed if it was, but then there's Kane's one, and Kane's wasn't a penalty because he just backs into him, and he knows what he's doing, Kane, there, and there's nothing that Lallana can do because he has to jump for the ball. He's not just going to let Kane get it. And
Kane, the penalty boot boy.
Pretty much. Kane loves his penalties. He knows how to get a penalty just so he can keep on top of the goal scoring charts.
Yeah, they'll talk about that, won't they? How well Kane's, how many he's scored. But if you take the penalties, I'm a good penalty taker. But
fantastic!
You know, maybe if they were to hand out the best penalty taker, he could win that rather than a golden boot for scoring so many goals.
Well, I remember you saying a few years ago saying that the golden boot shouldn't include penalties. And it would be interesting to see who would win it, because Salah has got quite a few this season. Who else is up? I think Son's up there. Son and Kane at the minute seem to be doing really well for Tottenham.
And what about Bale back then?
He scored the other day, didn't he? He got the winner. Yeah. I don't think he'll be as big a influence as I thought he might have been.
I think he's a dream, isn't he? And I don't think he's going to be their dream. A lot of people are going to have to give him a bit of room, I think. I mean, it's creating a god out of a footballer is a bit dangerous, I think.
Of course, he was incredible before, but I can't imagine him in Mourinho's system doing overly well. Quite honestly,
No.
like everyone else has gotten used to it in the Spurs team, but I just can't see Bale wanting to track back 9 times out of 10 and then still be able to score week in, week out, which is what everyone makes out for him to try and do.
And what about Sheffield United? Where are they gone?
They had a bit of a honeymoon period in the Premier League, didn't they?
They did.
Quite
They
honestly.
had that.
And then now they've realised that they're not as good a team as everyone thinks. They probably got a bit cocky and confident themselves, I reckon, because they had their amazing run where they got to like 5th or 6th in the league, and it's almost like they felt as if they belonged there at that point, and in reality they had to keep on striving, trying to get towards where they really wants to be. But realistically,
I think that's the advantage of Burnley, actually. Although they're sat at the bottom, Burnley have done it so many times.
They'll get out of it, won't they?
They will. They'll get out of it. Their manager is absolutely brilliant for that sort of job. He, just as Ainsworth is brilliant for Wycombe Wanderers, maybe he wouldn't be brilliant for Manchester United or Liverpool or Tottenham or whatever, but he is good at getting a team like Burnley out of it, and I think Burnley will survive. Sheffield Wednesday, I'm not convinced.
Sheffield United.
Oh, sorry. I've had Sheffield Wednesday on my mind.
Yeah, of course
it was such a great game. So big a game.
Are you saying Sheffield United to go down?
Oh, yeah. I'm afraid so.
I reckon the 3 are probably done already. So it's definitely Fulham, even though they did win yesterday, but they're still awful. West Brom, I'd imagine, would go down.
Yeah.
And maybe Sheffield United, maybe Manchester United if they keep their run of form. But you never know.
Yes, Ollie, what is... Yeah, I mean, we could discuss Ollie and what does he know about football. My argument about him has always been, I don't think he's got a clue about football. I don't think he knows what he's doing. He stands on the sidelines and he watches a game of football. He doesn't know what to do. He's just got so many midfielders that he just sticks them on the pitch. I don't think they know what they're doing, to be honest.
I don't know what they're doing.
And
No.
I'm afraid, as much as I think Rashford, if you watch him on that pitch, I'm not a fan. If you watch him on that pitch, he doesn't get involved. He just stands around and watches, and he doesn't get involved. He just seems completely lost on a football pitch. I don't think he can play football either. I think he's great at running up the wing, but I think that's about his limit, in all honesty.
I think he's
bit
been
cruel.
somewhat... I'd say he's somewhat unlucky in the managers he's had to deal with so far, and the system he's had to play in and the players he's had to have around him. Because if he was to play in let's say, a Liverpool team or a Man City team, I don't think he'd be as good as a Mane or a Sterling or someone like that. But I think he'd definitely be a lot better than he is at United. Just because of systems and how they work. Whereas United, you just don't know what they're trying to do half the time.
No. Well, let's finish our chat. We can go on forever, but let's just... Well, 2 things. First of all, manager, Ollie in or Ollie out, and that's a line always. And there's a United. Is it called the United Stand on YouTube?
Yeah.
And I do find that funny. The guy that runs that, Goldbridge, is that his name?
Mark Goldbridge.
He's a laugh. I cannot believe he's real. And he just... Every time it's a new manager, they start struggling. Are you an Ollie in or are you an Ollie out? Whoever happens to be the manager at the time, and of course that started a year ago. I mean, he has had now as a manager 100 games.
Yeah,
and I mean, do you think it's time for him to go?
It is.
We're not United fans, but
is it time for the people in the board to go as well? That's the question.
that's the
People
question.
that were buying the players.
Yeah.
Did they need Van der Beek? Did they need Cavani? Absolutely not. Of course they didn't.
We've always said, haven't we, that they buy the players, spend too much on the players, and then the players go downhill anyway.
Name a United player who's improved in the last 2 or 3 years, honestly.
Well, there you go, people. If you're listening to this, write the names below who you think, which United players have improved. And you certainly can't start with a goalkeeper, I know that much. Or Maguire. I mean, Maguire, no. I mean, shocking. Maguire, shocking.
You could argue that Maguire was okay before he went to United, and now he's one of the worst centre-backs in the league, arguably. Can I say that?
Arguably, argue it.
Arguably.
And the last question has to be Wycombe versus Birmingham tomorrow night. I will do a quick chit-chat on that, but let's talk about where we are with that. I mean, can we really hope of going to Birmingham? I mean, I always think evenings away are a little bit more nasty than Saturday afternoons away. I don't know why. I just feel they're a little bit colder, harder to get. That's going to be pouring with rain. It's not going to be the nicest place for a... But is that what Wycombe revel in? Is that what...
I'd argue yes. Are we at home?
No.
Do you know? We're not. I can see it being a bit of a dull draw, quite honestly. Yeah. I don't reckon a lot will happen.
Is that good or bad?
It's not the worst thing in the world. It's a point. Yeah. Would you take a point? I'll
take any points.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got to remember, for anybody watching this who isn't a Wycombe fan, you've got to remember that we're loving every game. Even the 5-0 loss, would I say? I love that. We were playing Blackburn Rovers, for goodness sake. We are what you would say out of our league. But on the other hand, we were last year and we got promoted. So, you know, and can I just say, there was a Benjamin Bloom has his YouTube channel about the championship, and I watched some of that. I think it's excellent. I can't watch all of it. He puts so many videos up, I can't keep up with it. He had all his fans writing in saying what their predictions. They actually predicted Wycombe to beat Sheffield Wednesday. How about that? Most people watching his channel thought we would beat Sheffield Wednesday. So I haven't seen what they think about Wycombe playing Birmingham, but
I can't imagine Wycombe versus Birmingham is the most attractive game to watch, quite honestly. It doesn't really entice you to want to go and watch it, but we will see.
Yeah.
I'll say 1-1. That's my prediction.
You're going to go 1-1? Well, I'm going to put mine up later, so I'm not going to tell you right now. I'm going to put mine up later. That? Yeah, I've got to have a think about that. I'm really not sure. But can I just say, please watch the predictions and the final scores videos that we do. This is the first of these. We'll probably put one up a week or something like that. I always talk to Kieran about football anyway, so we might as well do it on here and record it. Just to say, please can you subscribe, and please write your notes underneath, but please keep them clean. And can I just say that we're going to have a go at this. We might even look at doing these as podcasts. We're going to see about doing that. But for now, if you want to keep a track, then please do subscribe. And there's a little bell, gives you a ring every time we put one up. Okay, we'll say goodbye and good luck, Wycombe, tomorrow night.